Hi. Today I thought I'd come out to this wilderness place on this day, 13 Q'ij or Chol Q'ij, to make this video about the Trecena of Anil, to receive some inspiration from the natural world to guide you through this next Trecena. It's kind of interesting when you think about it, really, because you've got the day 13 Q'ij, this connection with the natural world. And then the next day you've got the Trecena of Anil starting, and Anil really being about the growth of the plants, really being about this new development, this new ripening that's coming in. Now, you may have heard me talk about this before, but there are many different cycles within the calendar. And one way that we can see this cycle in the calendar is leading us from the day 1 Kanil to the day 13 Ajpu, which could be seen as the next step up the ladder, which could be seen as kind of like the final step before we move into the new dream on Wanimosh, which will be the next Trecena. Okay, so the final 13 days, as some would see it in this calendar system, is kind of like the ripening process, and that for me is what the Trecena of Anil is all about. Anil meaning yellowing, bringing things to their fruition. The corn finally, that moment when you can open one of the husks and see that beautiful yellow corn inside, ready, lush, ready to eat. And so that is what it's all about. It's about bringing things to fruition. Sometimes things coming full cycle, taking them to their point of maximum ripeness. Now, we don't all have gardens. We're not all growing corn, perhaps. And for me, this also relates to projects, plans, ideas, or dreams that we might have, the things that we've planted a while ago. This is the ripening process, the final 13 days to bring them to their ultimate fruition, that being 13 Ajpu, if you see what I mean. Okay? And so we're going to begin this Trecena, of course, with 1 Anil. So Anil can represent seeding. Anil can represent this process that we're going through of ripening. And this is kind of like, right, okay, the 1 also representing a seed could be seen as something which needs nurture, something which needs fertilizer, needs water, needs some energy to put into it in order to bring it to its full abundance, to bring it to its full ripeness. And it's a time of joy because we're joyful when we've completed our project, when we finally receive the return on our investment of energy, our investment of love, our investment of time. And so in some ways we can see this as kind of like, right, how can we nurture this seed in order to bring it to its full maturity, in order to bring out the full yellowness, the full abundance of it. And so on 1 Anil, this is a great day for putting your energy into your projects, putting your energy into your dreams, putting your energy into anything that you want to bring to fruition so it can go full cycle, so it can give you that joyful, abundant return. It's a great day for getting out in your garden. Now, us in the northern hemisphere, we're now into autumn, so it's unlikely that we're going to be planting much. Well, here in Guatemala we can still plant stuff because of the temperatures here. Perhaps in the southern hemisphere, this is a great day to go out and make your spring planting, as it were, to get those seeds in the ground. Here, it might be a time of harvest. We're coming up to the end of the maize growing season. We're coming up to the end, coming up to the coffee harvest as well, not so far away. So this is something that we could be doing in the garden, getting our hands in the ground, preparing perhaps also for the next harvest, working out what we want to seed, what we want to plant into the ground to bring us abundance in the future. And we can see that physically, we can also see it metaphorically. What seeds are you planting for your future on this day and how are you putting your energy into tending them. After one anil comes two toch. Now we have a very interesting combination here, in that we have toch representing sacrifice, toch representing giving something back, making an offering, giving something to people, giving something back, perhaps tithing a little bit of that abundance that has come through anil, remembering to give a little back to sustain the community, to sustain the family, to sustain your own health as well. So Tu Toch is a great day for making a little offering, making a little sacrifice, perhaps giving a donation to an organization such as Odim, supporting the people here. Because the number 2 also can represent sacrifice. It can represent self-sacrifice. So Tu Toch is really looking at it and saying, right, okay, this is what I've received, this is what I give. It's kind of like keeping that balance with the two, with the duality. Also recognizing this whole cycle of giving and receiving, of making sure that we keep the balance in our path, in our process of ripening. We have to remember that it's part of our duty to keep balance, our natural state, to give a little back for what we've received. After Tu Toch comes 3 Tz'i. So Tz'i, the Nawal of faith and loyalty. Tz'i, the Nawal of unconditional love. And the number 3 representing home, representing the inner workings of ourselves as well, the home of our soul deep within us. And when we see these two together, this could be a very good day to be looking within yourself to see what you want to keep your loyalty to, what brings you faith, what you have faith in order to go forwards. Once again, to nurture that which we wish to bring into existence, that which we wish to bring to ripeness. Where are we going to put our loyalty? Now, sometimes we might be tempted away from these things. You know, we know what's going to grow, we know what's going to be good for us and that kind of thing, but then something comes along and it kind of like tempts us off our balance. We might see these things as our vices or something like that. So again, it's a good day to go within, because it's a 3-day, to look within your home, to look within your heart, and really define what are the things that draw you off your path. Maybe there's some stuff that you hold within you, vices as such, that are preventing your ripening. Maybe it's time to address them so that you can fully mature. From 3 Tz'i, we're then going to go into 4 Bats. So Bats, the Nawal of creativity, the Nawal of the artist. Bats, the Nawal of the weaver. It's about bringing things into reality. It's about creating and having a touch of flair, having a touch of genius about it. So combined with the number 4 representing the material plane of existence, the 4 cardinal points, the equinoxes and solstices, everything which is creating the solid foundation, in this case, for creation. So here we are in this Trecena, which is all about us maturing. It's all about bringing our things to their ripeness and that. And here we're in this day which is saying, right, okay, what can we create in the physical realm to bring stability to that? How can we add that touch of genius, that touch of flair to it, in order to create something which is not just ripe, not just abundant, but beautiful with it as well. And 4 Bats is a great day to get out there, put your energy into any artistic plan that you have, creative plans that you have. From 4 Bats, we'll then go into 5 Eh. So Eh, the day of the road. Eh, the day of travel. Eh, the day of exploration. And of course, as we go through our process of ripening, we're going to go through different experiences. We're going to come up against things that we haven't seen before, we haven't come up against before. Sometimes when we're on our journeys, we bump into things, places, people. It's all a new experience. And it's those experiences which, again, help us to ripen. Now, here, you know, whenever we're going somewhere, we're going to need to put our energy into it. And the number 5 is very much like that. Sometimes I think about it as being needing to put our energy into a vehicle in order for that vehicle to take us further than we could have been before. Whether it's a bicycle or a car or whatever it might be, somehow we have to add energy, whether it's electricity or even leg power as it might be, in order to go and have those new experiences. And so is beckoning you to take the road, to go and sort of push some boundaries, to kind of go outside of your usual box and go and have an experience. But the number 5 is saying, well, you're going to have to put a bit more energy into it, because sometimes we kind of like look out the window and think, yeah, let's go for a hike today. Oh, you know, it's kind of grey. Maybe I didn't sleep so well last night or something like that. It's like 5 is like, well, take the time to put your energy into it, because you're going to reap the experience which is going to help you to mature when you take that path. From 5 then we're going into 6 ach. So this is a particularly interesting combination, because we have ach, the leader, ach, the one who brings balance to home, the one who brings balance to community, the one who brings harmony. It's about our spinal columns. It's about standing up straight and tall. It's about making sure that we have our strength and our bravery, like the cornstalk holding everything up in its rightful place. That's what we're doing within our community or within our home. Now, the 6 is the number of ultimate stability, but it can also be related to the family. And so 6ach is a great day to be using your courage, using your bravery, using your strength to stand up for what will bring harmony to your family. Of course, that might be your extended family, that could be your community as well. Now, I see the 6 as the evolution of the 4. The 4 is the material plane, but the 6 brings in the heaven and the earth into that. And so it's drawing on kind of like the upper and lower realms in order to enhance that stability with a little bit of magic, as it were. Something that comes from the divine masculine and the divine feminine, bringing that into your ability to bring harmony to your community, to your family. From 6 ach, we're then going into 7 ish. So ish, the nawal of the shrines and the altars. Ish, the nawal of the sacred spaces, the nawal of Mother Earth herself. And the number 7, representing the very top of the pyramid, representing the final point that we get to, the culmination, the summit. And so from this place, I mean, of course, 7-ish, if you have these places near you, a sacred site on top of a mountain is the place to visit on a 7-ish day. Go to the top of the pyramid, as it were. Okay? But it's also about choices and decisions, because from that vantage point, you can see all of these different opportunities that you have. These different opportunities that you have to connect with Mother Earth, to make your ceremony, to look after Mother Earth, to protect her and treat her the way that she needs to be treated. And it's asking you to make a choice, to make a decision. That's what the 7 is about. So you may be in receipt of some things which they are those choices. It's like, right, okay, here's an opportunity to go and carry out some environmental project. Here's an opportunity to go to a local shrine, to go to a sacred space or something like that. And it's up to you. But if that opportunity comes along on a 7-ish day, then it's probably the right time to be taking it, because it's asking you to make that decision to go for it. From 7-ish, we then go into 8 Tz'ikin. Now, the birds have just started flying in here now. They were making some beautiful noises a little bit earlier. And Tz'ikin, the Nawal of the bird, the one that flies up high, the one that sees all around us. And here combined with the number 8. So the number 8 representing wholeness, Tz'ikin representing vision. It's a day of the whole vision. It's also a day of ceremony, because it's often that we make the ceremony on the 8 days. And so 8 Tz'ikin, well, Tz'ikin is also about our prosperity. It's what helps our community to thrive, what helps our families to survive, what helps us to thrive, what helps our environment to thrive. All of it has to be in balance in order for everyone to thrive. And so on 8 Tz'ikin we make the ceremony to help all of these things. Now, there will be people here that will maybe make ceremonies for their business, for their shop, for their whatever it might be, to help to put food on the table, to help their family to thrive. Sometimes they'll burn green candles or green sugar, particularly on 8 Tz'ikin days, in order to do just that. We might also be asking, what vision can come to us to help our environment to thrive so that us human beings, so that the human race can continue, right? Because if our environment doesn't thrive, we won't thrive either. And so seeing that in wholeness, seeing the whole vision, the holistic approach to ensuring that everybody thrives. And so on 8 Tz'ikin you might be asking, what maybe do I need to incorporate into my vision in order to make it whole? Maybe you can make a ceremony, maybe burn a candle or something like that in order to ask for that vision to come to you. How do you complete it? From 8 Tz'ikin, we're then going into 9 Ajmak. So Ajmak, the day of forgiveness. Ajmak, the day of being a human. And the number 9 representing the feminine, the number 9 representing life. So, of course, this is a day for seeking forgiveness from women in particular. That might well be a good day for that. But it's also about forgiveness of life. Now, we've all been through experiences. We've all had things happen to us that maybe we're hanging on to. Ajmak is asking us to accept ourselves and others for being human, for making mistakes, for not always getting it right. Because if we choose to hold on to those things, they're going to stop us from maturing. We're in this Ganil Trecena. We're going towards our full ripeness, our full goldenness, our full brilliance. Well, we can't be brilliant if we don't accept ourselves as human, and we can't be brilliant if we're still carrying like a grudge towards kind of like something that happened in the past, or, you know, it's kind of like a weight on us, a burden that we're carrying. So 9 Ajmak can be a great day to make a ceremony, to ask for forgiveness, and to ask to help to forgive. Because that's what we want to do. We want to drop it off. We want to accept it. Now, as the number of life, we can also see that within this combination with Ajmak, this is about the enjoyment of being a human and having a human life. Because that's what we're here to do. We've been put in these bodies. We're having this existence in this time to enjoy being a human as well. And there's nothing wrong with that. Ajmak days are not necessarily going to be the best days for making, you know, very fine adjustments to things. It's not the day to, you know, kind of like get the fragile porcelain down to clean it or something like that, because, you know, us being humans, we don't always kind of like get things right. But take some time to enjoy human life. Enjoy the elements of human life. Enjoy the things that make us human. That's what Ajmak days can be as well. So if you have some opportunity to take some what might be seen as irresponsibility time just to enjoy being a human, 9 Ajmak could be a good day for that as well. From 9 Ajmak, we're then going into 10 Noch. So the number 10 representing agreement, society, cooperation. The number 10 representing community. and Noch being the problem solver, the one that comes up with the answers, the one that comes up with the ideas. What does it use for that? It uses its knowledge. It uses its understanding. And so this is the knowledge and understanding that comes from the community in order to solve the problems. So once again, if we go back to the theme of the ripening process, we go back to the theme of bringing something to its abundance, bringing something to its goldenness. Well, Ten Noch might be the day, if you're stuck with something, to go and seek out the knowledge of your community in order to give a hand up, to also make yourself present for your community to do that, because those two things go hand in hand, literally on the 10-day, right? It's kind of like we share our information, we share our knowledge to help each other move forward, to help each other overcome the problems that we have so that we can go into our full ripeness. From 10 Noch, we're then going into 11 Tijax. Tijax, and a while of the obsidian blade, of healing, of cutting away what doesn't fit, of cutting away those things, releasing and cutting, sculpting, in order to bring out the true holiness of something. And the 11, well, the 11 might seem a little bit directionless. Then number 11 can be extremely creative by taking different paths, different ways of doing things. And so this might involve cutting, using your blade in different ways, looking at your project, your plan, whatever it might be, what you want to bring to ripeness, taking a different way to look at it and seeing what might be cut off. Now, the other thing about it is that the 11 is a very high number, and when we combine that with Tijax, we're going to need to use our blade with care, because that obsidian blade is very, very sharp. And if we are not attentive to the way that we are cutting, we might cut off a little bit too much. We might cause some damage. And so it's a time to take a moment as you use your blade to pare down and remove what is stopping you from ripening, like what cutting off, removing those things which are holding you back, but doing it with intention, doing it very, very precisely with a great deal of consciousness, so that that 11 doesn't kind of like allow the knife to slip, as it were, and cut off too much. From 11 Tijax, we're then going into 12 Kawok. So Kawok, the midwife, Kawok, the one that is assisting with the birth process. Now, one of the things that they say is that Kawok is the midwife to the resurrection of the maize being Ajpu. So this is kind of like the final preparations ready for that Ajpu to emerge. Kawok is clearing the way. She's preparing as the midwife. She's opening the way for the new birth to come in. She's washing away the obstacles that might stand in the path, cleaning things, ready for the new world to be born. And so the number 12 we can see as bringing together all of life's experiences. So once again, this is kind of like, this is all leading up to this 13 Ajpu day. This is all leading up to this final ripening process. It's like, right, okay, this is you putting your finishing touches into how you're going to midwife that into reality, how you're going to clear the way to allow it to come in, what obstacles you might need to wash away. It's also a day of compassionate healing. It's the feminine aspect of healing. And that number 12 representing all of your life experiences. And so whilst I'm talking about kind of like coming to a culmination point of this last 260 days, it may be that you're drawing on all of the experiences that you've had through life in order to understand the compassion that you might need in order to bring that evolution in order to bring that ripening in. It's also, Kawok is a very strong day. It's a storm after all, right? And we can see that flood coming through, clearing the way for things to come in. And it's saying, right, okay, what might you be able to draw on from your past, from your previous experience, that can help that birth process to happen? How can you remove the obstacles to your full and final ripening using your previous experience? And then finally we come to this grand day of 13 Ajpu, the number 13 representing the ancestors, representing the connection to spirit, Ajpu representing the ancestors, representing the sun, representing, well, sometimes I might also call it the ascension process. 13 Ajpu I see as a day when we really see ourselves for what we are. This is because of the way that it works within composite Nawalis. When we put two Nawalis together, whenever we put something together with 13 Ajpu, the result is exactly what we began with. It's a day on which we really see ourselves for who we are. We see each other. We see everything around us for exactly the way that it is. This day of final ripening. It's a day which seems to be kind of like the next step before the new dream begins. So, 13 Ajpu, a wonderful day for meditation, a wonderful day to make ceremony, of course, as well. To ask for the assistance of spirit, to ask for the assistance of the ancestors on your spiritual path, because Ajpu is about our spiritual path. It's about our own journey to back to the source, as it were. And a 13 is this really strong number that brings us the guidance from spirit or the guidance from the ancestors. So if you wanted to get a divination done or visit a medium or something like that, then 13 Ajpu is a fantastic day to do that in order to get advice on how to take the next step and how to bring the new dream, which will be the one in Mosh the next day, into reality. Okay? So I hope that you've enjoyed that. I hope that that's of use to you. And I look forward to seeing you in 13 days' time for the Trecena of Imosh. Thank you.